Clinton use laughter as a way of diffusing or avoiding topics she's not that interested in discussing. The first is from last night's town hall in Iowa, where Hillary Clinton was asked, "How did you end up running against a socialist named Bernie?" And she laughed. Take a look at this.
2008, we're talking about. Here you are again, another election. Praise and promise coming your way, but another nail biter,
right,
with a self-described socialist named Bernie.
Right.
How did that happen?
Look, it's a great country, despite what
Yeah. So laughing, all right, maybe not an issue she's that desperate to avoid, but she's probably also wondering how this socialist named Bernie is doing so well against her. So then she was asked, "Hey, Hillary, will you release the transcript from your paid speeches at Goldman Sachs? You know, you say one thing about Wall Street, but you get all this money from making speeches for Goldman Sachs. We'd like to know what those speeches said." Here was Hillary Clinton's reaction to that question.
Sorry.
I'm so happy you're part of this.
Hi, Secretary Clinton. Will you release a transcript of your paid speeches to Goldman Sachs? No, there's a lot of controversy over the speeches.
All right, so laughing that one off, and that is definitely now getting in to be a topic that she is not interested in having much of a conversation about. And then here's Hillary Clinton laughing on questions about her ongoing email situation, which we've discussed.
I know Bernie Sanders said that, quote, the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails. But there are a lot of people who are not.
Well,
including FBI officials looking into whether national
Okay,
security
stop it there. The FBI, that's a good one. And then just a few days ago, Hillary Clinton also laughed off Chris Christie's suggestion that she could be prosecuted for her use of private email servers during her tenure as Secretary of State. So is this nervous laughter? I think it actually is not a bad technique, Lewis, because if you see Hillary Clinton laughing, that might be, if that's a turnoff, if you really react to that, you're probably already somewhat skeptical of Hillary Clinton. And if you're someone who is sort of in the middle or a supporter of Hillary Clinton's, seeing her laugh these issues off probably reinforces your idea that they're just sort of going after her in a witch hunt sort of mentality. I don't think this is a bad strategy for her, although increasingly people are writing articles saying, what's up with Hillary laughing these off?
I think it's a bad strategy. It's a bad strategy for me. Maybe I think differently from the majority of the populace.
But what you're actually confirming what I'm saying. You already are not thrilled with much of what Hillary's doing. So yeah, you don't like it, but it's not really changing your view of Hillary. You'd rather Bernie, but you'd vote for her over the Republicans. So her laughing is not having a practical effect on you.
Well, I like to think that I'm thinking about it pragmatically and practically. And I'm thinking to myself that if she were good enough to actually come up with a really solid defense, and if she were competent enough to easily dismiss whatever is being asked of her, however ridiculous it may be,
based on the facts,
she wouldn't have to laugh, right?
Interesting. So you see the laugh as something she's choosing to do instead of really destroying whatever argument is being put to her.
Maybe she thinks it's easier. Maybe her campaign advisors told her that this is a good strategy.
Yeah, but think about it, though. If you're shaking hands after an event and someone says, Secretary Clinton, will you release the transcripts from your speeches to Goldman Sachs? Are you really going to say, well, listen, those are private speeches and there's actually no reason, blah, blah, blah. How can you, I don't understand how you can win when you're going through the handshake line. So maybe the laughing it off is logical.
Well, I think she could just as easily look to the camera and say, I have no reason to do that, or that's not something I need to do, or even just say, that's not important. I think there are any number of compelling things she could say to dismiss that. Instead, it just kind of comes off in a strange way when she just laughs and ignores the person asking the question.